This is the time to build credit when they're young. This is the time to teach them, right? So that they don't have to learn after a disaster. So why not learn your program now and pass it on to your children? It's no laughing matter when they get those loans in default. And then they file their first tax return and their money is gone. Some of y'all had lost some money too. All right. You should teach your children how to build excellent credit the right way. Okay? That's not accruing a lot of debt. There are other ways that you can build credit without teaching them to go and get a lot of debt. Okay? We'll talk about that. Husbands and wives should both have excellent credit. Anybody agree with that? Yes. Wonderful. Because we have people that don't agree with that. Mentally issues. So, personal. When we started over, and I was so excited about this system, I rebuilt my husband's credit. And one day I decided to stop being so excited about him going to the bank, getting stuff again, till I opened my own credit and I had 415 as a score. I say, foot! He going to get struck off of my work. If I want to go get something, I couldn't get nothing. And then one day he's going to die. What am I going to do then? And I tell you this, well, he said, no. Oh, what if? I'm just saying, if we go first. Okay? So here's the deal. We had a member that joined and we started with our credit and she said, well, you know what? I just want to quit that whole thing because my husband has good credit. Yeah, that's a problem. Now, you should not use credit just because you want to buy a home, car, furniture, clothes, and shoes. Okay? You should not lend your credit to others. There you go. Now, don't you understand that if they have bad credit, been there, done that one. Had to dig my way out. Okay? And anyway, the Bible talks about that. We are not supposed to co-sign. All right. So you should not overextend yourself with too much credit. Because that's just as bad. You can be paying all of your, not only will you not have any money to live on from week to week or paycheck to paycheck, but if you overextend your credit, your scores are going to be low and you still can't buy anything. Okay? Now, why poor credit? I'm talking about these are my philosophies. Bottom line, poor money management. Come on, say it with me. Poor money management. Poor money management. A lot of people don't like to admit that because this is what I get all the time. I'm young. I didn't know no better. Okay, now, not to mention we've been talking to some of them. I'm single. Okay, and so single people live like they're married people. That's wrong. You single, you got single income. Go buy a cash car. Divorce. No matter what it is, what I'm trying to tell you is we were not prepared for any of this. So it comes down to poor money management skills because of the lack of financial education.
That's right.
Now, what are y'all getting today? Financial what? All right. Now, let's recover. I want to pick your faces up. I don't want you to keep crying in the back because I've been talking about you. There is a way to recover, okay? Come on, touch yourself and say, I can recover. All right, so let's talk about that. I want to give you a little history because one of the ways you recover is that you must understand the world of credit. I can't give you everything, right? But I got you a little history here to share with you how credit started, okay? Back in the Great Depression, and you guys have heard of how the businesses failed during the Great Depression, okay? There was a group of people that wanted to make the economic system better. And so what they did was they wanted to move away from the old way of doing business, which was cash and carry. Credit was very little. You know, you could go to mom and pop store and you could sign a little bill, you know. And then I got credit with my grandmother. Y'all think I'm playing? Grandma would send me an invoice in the mail. I never borrowed no more than that $300 I got from her. Because every time I paid 20, she sent me an invoice to show me my balance. And she said to me, credit is your name. Keep your name good. Now, my sister and them don't have no good name with her, but, you know, I kept my good name. I ended that $300 contract, and I never got any more money. Okay? But these guys got together in the industry. They came together. They're actually out of Stanford. And they were at Stanford, and Earl Isaac and Bill Fair got together and created the FICO scoring system. Okay? Because they wanted to find a way to measure or to help lending institutions measure whether or not you would be trustworthy to get their money. Okay? So it became big business over time. We have to reveal that to you so that you will not be afraid. But until then, there was no way for the banks to monitor the promises that you made. Right? When you sign that note, people, some of y'all, I gotta go here, some of y'all already know y'all can't pay for it. And then you be hollering about, I trust God. Stop that line on the Lord. He did not tell you. As a matter of fact, he said, don't make a debt and break it. Don't make a pledge and don't keep it. I'm sorry. I'm pastor of the Great I Am Temple in Monticello, and sometimes this, it comes out like this. Okay? Now, let's take a look at our scoring system. And you guys, I'm going through this because many of you are familiar with it. You know that in order to create that FICO score, thank you, June, I love this. I was able to rob it from you. Our scoring system here, our payment history, 35% of the FICO score comes from payment history. 30% comes from the amount of debt that you have. 15% comes from the length of credit history. And 10% comes from your new credit and your credit mix. Okay? I'm going to expect you to go do your homework so that I can make up my time, okay, and get some questions. All right? So I guess payment history just means how long your payment, if it's paid on time. Okay? How well have you paid that debt? How many times have you missed paying? 30, 60, right? 90, 120. Or nothing at all. Okay. Now, our score ranges from 300 to 850. So let's look at where you are. Bad credit is 599 or below. Poor credit 600 to 649. Fair credit 650 to 699. Excellent credit is 750 plus. So that's why we talk about 750, right? Because that's where everyone in the room wants to get to. Now, let's talk about converting these 5 elements into the FICO scoring system. Okay? Each one of those areas that we just talked about that goes into the scoring system has points to it. So, payment history, on-time payments, will give you up to 193 points. You can take a picture. Anybody? I see y'all. This is the value. Okay, when you look at the points, you're talking about the value of each one of the areas into your FICO scoring system. So the value of paying your debt on time is up to 193 points. Credit utilization. Okay, this is how much credit you carry on your credit line. This is 165 points. That's why we tell you 38. Some people say 38, some say 32, some information says 30% or below. It's best to keep it down, bottom line. If you're not doing anything, you know, we'll do something, run it back up for some reason. But if you're getting ready to make a major purchase and you want to get your score back up, pay your debt. This is why we say pay your debt. These two are so vital to you, paying your debt. Now, this is your credit history, which is 83%, and then your new credit and credit mix, although it's not but 10%, that's a whole lot of points. That's a lot of points between those two. Okay, I think that comes up to, if you just total each one, it's 551 altogether. However, you know you want to get to 850, so you got to make sure that the debt that you incur each line item is in shape. That makes sense, everybody? Yes. Okay. Now, some of the most damaging things to your credit are these: collections, judgments, foreclosures, repossessions, charge-offs, late payments, and bankruptcies. So it's best not to go to collections. If a company has a collection department, this is like a little game I'm going to kind of throw in here right now that you play with your debt. If you don't allow it to go over 120 days and they have a collection company within the company, you can go and negotiate paying that debt off before it goes to a junk debt buyer, which is better because you can recover later. I'll tell you how. Somebody took a pin in it and I'll tell you. Okay? Now, credit score behavior, when they look at the FICO score, this is what the industry or FICO industry looks at. Recency, which means the last time the payment was late. If you were going to buy more, want to buy a home, and the mortgage lender pulled it, and then they take a look at everything. They're looking at how many times you've been late. Frequency is how often a borrower pays, okay, or pays on time. I could extend that. And the severity. A payment 30 days late is better than 60, 90, and 120. So if you got a long history of late payments until it becomes no payments, that's an issue. But this is how it's packaged when they're packaging their numbers. Now what happens here, I have rebucketed. This is what happens to you when you start doing those things that we just talked about. The credit scoring system has a terminology we use that says you're rebucketed. Okay, that means that if you were in this group of people who paid their debt always late for 60 days, you were here, you were going to be at this score. But if you take 6 months and start paying it on time, you come out of this bucket and you go over to the bucket with the people who pay on time. Now, every time you graduate from one bucket to the next, you increase in score. Okay? This is why you have to give credit time. I know, there are people who buy debt, which is a borderline unethical thing in this industry. But you can buy somebody else's credit and pop it on there. Wow. And get you a quick fix. It's just that I don't practice quick fixes. Okay? But that is practice in some people in this industry, and it's not quite legal. Okay? Now, let's talk about the bureaus. And you're going to get all of this, so I didn't stay on these guys. But you know your 3 main credit bureaus are Experian, Equifax, and TransUnion. Now I have +1 because I want you to understand this. Trended data that these companies show when they pour your credit at a lending institution. Okay? Trended data is a detailed record of your credit history. This is why some of you won't get something, even if you have a score, and something I'm going to give y'all today to walk away with. But even if you have a good score, but you got a bad credit history, they're giving everything that you don't see. See, when we pull our credit reports, those are called consumer disclosures. Those are never do you see all of your credit history. Okay? That only comes from within the banks. This is attached to it. Credit bureaus are using this data to create, get this y'all, new products to sell to lenders. So you got to get in the game right now. 5% of y'all raise your hand. If you're ever really going to invest to become financially successful, you need to get in the game. I don't care if it's blood, sweat, or tears, all night long. It takes a sacrifice. It took me a sacrifice to stay and read that big book and highlight stuff. Oh my goodness. And I get upset with y'all. Y'all got computer generated stuff. Now, Experience sells this trended data called Trended Solutions. Equifax offers Dimension, and TransUnion offers Credit Vision. Information includes historical payment amounts going back 30 months or 24 months. It is supposed to help find credit worthy borrowers for sustainable loans such as mortgages and so forth. Okay? Is that good information for y'all?
Yes.
Okay. Now, what is my secret to starting over? And I'm actually almost done with this, and I'm going to give y'all time to ask some questions. The first thing you want to do, and the reason I'm doing this way, because you have a plan, you should use it. And it's very organized. Look, I'm just telling on people. But listen, I had a person, not on my team. They know even if they don't follow, don't call me. But this person somewhere else reaches out and says, listen, I want to know how to take care of this issue on my credit report. I've looked all the way through the Smart Credit system, and I don't see a letter for this, that, and the other. And I said, okay, where did you start? She said, oh, well, I had looked at my credit, and when I looked at it, I really just wanted to take care of this, that, and the other. I said, ma'am, you need to go back at the beginning. Because in the Smart Credit system, you start to organize first. It's called strategy. So June has created it. You got downloadable things that you're supposed to go to that Excel sheet. You start marking off stuff on your credit report. So don't just go jumping, get organized. Okay? So I told her, go back to the beginning. Right. Yeah. She's like, I go to the beginning. Ain't you a credit specialist? I said, yep, but you ain't paid me yet. And at the rate you're going, you ain't gonna recruit nobody. They ain't gonna pay me neither. So go back to the beginning. Okay, y'all need to go to the beginning. Pull your 3 credit reports and look at those reports and do what you're told to do by those reports. Okay, I think one of the first things that it tells you, and then you want to look at eliminating that debt. You all should already be moving there. If you even if you have not touched your credit, if you have that smart, the cash flow strategist completed, you should have been moving towards eliminating that debt. And it's happening sort of like a balance scale. By the time you do this part is taken care of. Before you know it, your credit score was changed. Because you were actually already changing your W-4, getting the money you needed. You were already saving anywhere from $3,000 to $5,000, right? You were taking that money and doing something with it because it had vision to it. So by the time you open this up, you was like, voila, I'm already making a difference. Because of the debt that was being eliminated. Now, the first thing that you're told to do, and if you're on the call, I was supposed to have that letter here. I'm going to email that letter to Candace, and you can, everybody here that's enrolled, she can send you the letter. And it may be, I didn't know if it was in the back office. But this is a little nugget I want to share with you. That every credit report has an AIN number. That's an address identification number. That address identification number also identifies the trade line that's on your credit reports. Now imagine this. 15 years ago, you were connected to 555 North Crossett in Chicago, Illinois. That's when you didn't have a mind. You didn't have a mighty kind mind. You didn't have a strategy in place. You was crazy, spending your money, and you were like, okay, I ain't gonna pay them. Now all that stuff is connected to 555, okay. But now, say I'm a new man. Come on, can you say it? I'm a new man.
I'm a new man.
I got a new mind.
I got a new mind.
Yes, I almost went to church on y'all. Got a new home. Oh, we go. So, I'm doing stuff differently now. And I want to change where I live to my present status. I feel sorry for y'all that still live. No, I'm just kidding. So, if your address has changed, do an address change. Update to your new address, because every item on your credit report is connected to this AIN number. Now imagine when you start to dispute inaccurate, they gotta validate, not verify, but they verify and validate off of that old address. If they cannot find that connection, what do they have to do? Bam. I'm just talking about recovery. So start with your name. My grandmother was right and she didn't even know it. Yes. That's right. Your name. It's in your name. So after reviewing your full credit report, mark up the unidentifiable and incorrect items to have them validated. That could be anything on those items, as the date of last activity. That could be the status report on there. That could be the incomplete account number. You seen the account number 2366, then they got star. So wait, hold on. And then they got two numbers, star. Oh, this is an incomplete item because the account number's on there. I'm going to ask you to validate this with my signature on the contract, right? The letters are they're in there. That's the truth. So if they can't validate that, right? Because most people, they're not sending in true contracts. They're sending in what we call robo contracts. Got you in court on a robo contract. Got you having money taken out of garnished for robo contracts. They're not real. So go to work. Okay? And I just want to plug in here again. You have what in your hands? Smart money credit system. Use it. Use it. That's it, y'all.